Hi guys, welcome to the Honey Podcast. This is Dani,
And this is Jodie.
and today we are talking about, of course, Machine Gun Kelly's new album, Tickets to My Downfall. So we're just gonna kind of go through the track listing and talk about how we received it and what our favorite songs are so far. And yeah, so Jodie, you want to get it started?
Yeah, so obviously title track for Tickets to My Downfall. Like like it was, it couldn't have been anywhere else on the album. It's just a fantastic opener, isn't it? And like I feel it's also going to become an anthem live. I feel like that'll be a huge it's like the huge anthemic song to me on the album that kind of like just like gets everyone ready for the ride they're about to be taken on.
Yeah.
um yeah, it definitely exceeded my expectations for what we were about to get into, because where this album was being so hyped, I was kind of thinking, oh, is there going to be, are we going to overhype it and then be disappointed when we hear it? But yeah, it definitely didn't disappoint for me. So what do you think about it?
I kind of said the same thing in my notes. I said, it was the intro track. It was important for it to be really good, like you said. And for me, it was. I love that it started out slow, and it kind of brought in those like emo vibes. And then it goes so hard, and you're like, oh my God, we're here. This is, like you said, it gets you started for the journey that is this album. And I think he nailed it with the intro. I mean, you've got to have a good track to start with, or people aren't going to want to listen. And I think he did that.
Yeah, and it is literally one of those songs that you can only listen to loudly.
Yeah,
There's no other option. You cannot listen to that track quietly. It's just not right. And
right.
I feel like, yeah, it was one hell of an opener. And
Mhm.
it's also a song that I feel like would translate and probably be the opener when it's done live as well.
Yeah, I could
Because it
see
just,
that.
yeah, because it just drags people in. Um, but yeah, and then with Kiss Kiss, like I'm not gonna lie, the first listen, it kind of fell a little bit short for me, but I feel like that's because Tickets to My Downfall was such a good track. But then like on second and third listen, it's actually an incredibly catchy earworm of a song. And
Mhm.
like Kiss Kiss the Bottle is something that you can find yourself just randomly like just
Singing
spitting out when
along.
you're in your own little world kind of thing. So it's definitely a grower of a song for me. And I feel like it's definitely more the pop influence than
Right.
the punk influence in that song.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with that. I would say the same thing on the first listen. I was like, I don't know about this song. Um, but then, when I listened to it again and in order, of course, because I like to listen to albums in chronological order because that's how they want you to hear it most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, I would say the same thing. It definitely grew on me. It's a sing along. It keeps it fast paced. So I do like the song, and I agree with you on the fact that you said it. Kind of picks up on those more poppy influences.
Mm. Yeah. Um, and I feel like it's one of those songs that it's not a filler in the album,
Right.
but it's definitely one you can see why it wasn't a single kind of thing. Like when you compare it to My Bloody Valentine, for instance, which you can see. I mean, I know that's not the next track, but you can see like that song was born to be a single kind of thing. With like
Right.
it has its own presence. It feels like it fits well within the album. Like it has its rightful place there, but it totally is one of those songs that is there to be an album track, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely.
So what about you? You want to start with Drunk Face and what you thought?
Sure. So this one, for me, I feel like the first few times I listened to it, I didn't pick up on how good it was. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, but I just didn't. And I have a friend that is really into him as well, and she kept telling me like this one's my favorite song. So I went back and like really listened to it. Um And again, I wrote a review for the Honey Pop about the album, and I didn't mention the song in that either, which is crazy because it's a great song.
Yeah, it is great.
I just really like that song. I wouldn't say it's my favorite on the album, but it's just a really good song. I think he really nailed it with this song.
Yeah, and what I think, where I fall in line with what your friend probably is feeling maybe on this song, why it is so good, especially like, well, not just in its instrumentality, but its lyrics, is it's an extremely relatable song for anyone who can relate to what he's preaching within it. And I feel like that's why it was going to resonate with a lot of his listeners, and a lot of people that have been listening to him as a rap artist, that know his journey. I feel like that it's going to be a song that, that his rap fans that are staying with him through to his pop punk journey are going to be like, yeah, this is like kind of what he's spoken about before, but it's been done in another way. And yeah, I feel like that's probably why I personally became quite attached to it, but not on initial first listen. And I do feel like this is definitely an album that you need to run through 2 or 3 times at least before you start like picking out what your favorite tracks off the album are.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then with my Bloody Valentine, like, we all know what everyone thinks about that already, and that's the next track, don't we?
Yep.
But yeah, well, we all know it's a banger of a tune and that it slaps. But what I'm most excited to talk about is the track that comes after that, which is Forget Me Too. So the long anticipated Halsey collaboration. What did you think? What were your initial thoughts? Everyone was excited for this, weren't they? So
I know that, like, for this song, I was excited about it before the album came. And I can say fully that it did not disappoint me. I listed it as one of my favorite songs on the album. I just think that it was, again, an incredibly relatable song, for me, and I'm sure for many others. I think that it's cool for sure that they work together on this, because I mean, I'm pretty positive they had a little run-in of a relationship, so that they can work together and like keep it raw and honest is awesome, and just shows how good of people and good of artists they are on their own. And I think that it's cool that he chose her to jump in on this song, because she has always been like very into the pop punk scene. And she's always like, obviously she is a pop artist, but she has always been super into the music and super into the genre. And like, I think that for her, it made this song more fun because she finally got to do her crossover as well. And I just think that this is a song that is good and can be radio friendly. And I think that also it's like, a lot of people have mentioned that, you know, this album was like, reviving pop punk. And while I don't necessarily think that's true, I think it's an amazing album, and I think that it's great for pop punk. I think that pop punk's been doing the damn thing for a long time. But this song could have the potential to bring back pop punk on the radio.
Yeah, I totally agree with you with that, especially as Halsey has such a big audience on the radio. But what like you said, pop punk definitely hasn't died. And what this album is just someone who enjoys the genre himself and has a platform putting what he enjoys about pop punk out there. And you can't deny that, like we have said about how people can move around genres and people should let that, he's done this so well, and I would say that like he sits very neatly in this genre, and this song kind of proves that. I mean, lyrically this song's fantastic, and Halsey has had some kind of snippets of her power in rock, with like touching on a song like Nightmare that she did, which was extremely rock. Extremely rock vibes. But I got serious Paramore vibes from her voice in this. It was so Hayley Williams. And but in the best kind of way. Don't get me wrong, you could tell it was her, but it was like her crossed with Hayley Williams. And like, one, it will make it 8 radio friendly, but I feel like it will grab the attention of, you know, the people that kind of stopped listening to pop punk after like that mega pop punk phase, when, you know, it was Paramore was all you ever heard and All Time Low was all you heard, and then they kind of like, you know, people as they grew up or whatever kind of fizzled out on the genre. Like, I feel like it will revive them, and it will introduce that kind of music to a new generation who might not have ever picked up the Riot CD before, might never have listened to Nothing Personal. I feel like this is what's so cool about this album. But also, like, Forget Me Too is the most powerful song on the album, I think, to encourage people to do that. But yeah,
totally agree with that.
Yeah. So, what did you think about All I Know? Because it's another Trippie Redd feature.
So, I think that this is cool because this song kind of reminds me of, and it like put me into a vibe of like the Juice WRLD Lil Peep era. And I love that because I'm a huge, obviously, Juice WRLD fan. Also, I'm a huge Lil Peep fan. And they did tons for like the emo trap rap thing. And I think that this song kind of like embodies like both the rap part of MGK and like the pop punk part. And like, I just think the song is underlooked because it's a really good song. And
I was going to say that it's underlooked. I mean, because you've also got to give props to Trippie for how well he gelled into this song as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, I mean, that was my main thing I took from it. Like, I can totally see how people I feel like it's a first listen overlooker that a lot of people will have. And then by the second time they're listening from start to finish, they'll be like, whoa, actually, I should have paid more attention to this the first time. I feel like what MGK has done here is he's not just showing how diverse he is, he's showing how diverse the features he has on the album are as well.
That just gave me chills, because that's really that's really true. Like, he picked a really good job, and I think that it's I wrote that down, that I loved the features on this, and I also am additionally excited for those other features that he mentioned on Twitter from The Used and Young. So that's going to be great. Totally agree with that.
I mean, like, you can totally understand why he's holding on to them, but that doesn't make us not want them.
Of course.
You know? But I also feel like it would have been an injustice to this album for it to have so many features,
right?
Because he needed to have his message put across as well, right. Which I also feel ties in really well with the next song, for Lonely. And obviously he sadly lost like his father early this year, so like this song's like a message to him, and also references his aunt he lost as well, I believe. And like, it's a very emotional song, and as someone who, I'm fortunate enough to have both my parents around, but like anyone who's had any kind of like bereavement or loss that's so close to them, right. I feel like anyone could empathize and relate to this song. And it was extremely touching, actually. And the fact that it was done within the pop punk genre as well, just shows you how gifted he really is. Like, I know we kiss his ass a lot on here, but it really shows like how talented he really is, and how bold and brave he is to just like put his emotions out there. And yeah, that's basically what I have to say on it. But
I totally agree with you. I put Lonely as one of my favorite songs, if not my favorite song. Like, I go back and forth, but it's definitely one of my favorites. I know that when we were talking about it initially, you were like, oh gosh, you're gonna love that one. And when I listened to it, I definitely cried the first time I listened to it, just because it's such an honest and raw and relatable song. And like you said, I think that it's so like it's crazy because as I've watched him grow as an artist, like he's always had these songs that are just like, holy shit, that is so sad, or like that's so relatable, and like just brings out all the emotions with you, like from you. And while they were always rap songs, like now it's a pop punk song, and now it fits perfectly. I mean, his rap songs did too, but like you can just tell that he really enjoyed this because he does have all those emotions, and he was able to channel it and make a great song. Like that song is just
And
amazing.
also vocally, I feel like his vocals on this song, because they are charged with some sort of raw emotion, um, they're just on another level, compared to the rest of the album. Maybe because, I mean, there is one exception which we'll get onto later, but yeah, it's a very emotionally charged, and I don't feel like from some of the read ups and reviews I have read that people are giving his actual singing capabilities enough credit.
Yeah.
And this song, is my opinion, is like two fingers up to that, because his vocals are incredible on this song. Simple. Yeah, that's all I can really say to that. But
Yeah.
um, then we're brought back up by World War Three, which all I can say is, if you couldn't tell Travis Barker's influence on the first track, then you can definitely tell it on this one.
Yeah.
It is literally Blink through and through. Old school, take off your pants and jackets era Blink.
It's funny
Yeah.
because in my notes, I wrote the same exact thing. I said, I really like this song. And then I put Blink Sum 41 vibes. And yeah.
Yeah. I put take off your pants and jacket era vibes.
Yeah.
Smiley face.
Like you said, the Travis Barker influence is very prominent in this song, and I respect it. I like it. I really jam out to this song.
And it would have been an injustice to this album with his work within it that he didn't get a song to smash the drums around like this too.
Right.
And also knowing that, like, you know, on tour or whatever, we'll get to see Rook doing that as well. If this song is on the set list, which it should be, it's going to be incredible. I knew that I knew that you'd be fanning yourself there. But yeah, totally. And then he lifts our mood up even further by giving us something that quarantine took away from us, which was Machine Gun Kelly and Pete Davidson content. Because let's be honest, like, we've been first and and when I heard his voice, I was so happy, man. Like, we've needed this. So we might have only got on a small scale because like lockdown's obviously like taken them away from each other at the moment, but it brought them back together for this album, which I love so much. And just hearing those two messing around is it's the funniest.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we definitely needed that.
Yep, I said the same thing. I said the interlude with Pete was amazing because their romance is one of my favorite romances.
Yeah.
You're my fangirl coming out right now. But I think it was cool how they did that and how they like just kind of show their friendship, and then it goes perfectly into Concert for Aliens. I think that they did really cool. I mean, just makes sense.
Because they're talking about their alien names and then it rolls into that, and another kind of like that's a song that I feel I feels like I feel like Concert for Aliens is an awesome single. It represents what this album is all about in the fun sense. Obviously he's got some deep messages in there, but then the fun pop punk, it's like it fits it slips in very well with the title track, I feel like, and World War Three.
Agree. I agree with you. And I think that, again, we've talked about this before when it first came out. I got Pete Davidson on my mind. I can't.
That's my fault.
Those Blink vibes, they are very heavy there, and I love that song. And of course, like we mentioned before, the singles, they were meant to be singles.
Mm,
And then,
totally. And then the next one, which is a single,
yep.
so that also is a great feature, for, you know, like having Black Bear crossing over again himself into this. But I also feel like it's the least pop punk song on the album.
Yeah, I could see that. I I put down that this was one of my favorite singles. And I love all the singles equally, but I just really dig this one because it got me like more into Black Bear, if
Yeah.
possible. Like I just was like, when I saw this video, I was like, holy shit, oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, I think because I already was a Black Bear fan. In fact, I was a Black Bear fan. I've probably been a Black Bear fan longer than I've been a Machine Gun Kelly fan. I can't remember, but
Yeah,
yeah, I just seeing these two do this and then seeing them performing it at the VMAs as well, which was awesome. But yeah, I'd go as far as saying it's probably my favorite single they have released. He has released off the album, should I say? But that's actually slips in very well with Jawbreaker, the next track, because that is my favorite song on the album. It wasn't
oh,
at first, like I said, it was Halsey, the Halsey collab,
yeah.
but this is probably like my favorite on the album at the moment. And I just feel like it's really catchy, and it's probably kind of like the softest, most loving kind of happy love kind of song on the album, you know?
That surprises me. I did not expect you to say that was your
No?
favorite. No, you
Yeah, like I just feel
definitely.
like it's probably, you know, the softest song on the album, and I
I
feel like that's probably why I love it so much. But I used to say, like, I mean, we're still in the early stages of it dropping. I don't know if it could be quite bold of me to say it's going to be my all-time favorite song on the album, but at the moment it definitely is.
I
And
think that this song live is going to be really sick to see
yeah,
because I think that he really enjoys this one. And like, I could be totally wrong, but it seems like he really, really likes this one, and I can't wait to see it
yeah,
live.
because he teased this one a lot as well, didn't he? So
Yeah,
I feel like, but yeah, so I mean, it bold of me to assume, but I feel like what a lot of people are gonna want is the Halsey track to be the fourth single off it.
yeah,
But I mean, like, I'd be
that might be
really
that.
torn between it being that and this.
I could
But
see that. I could
yeah,
definitely see that.
I mean, or you could do something that an artist hasn't done in a long time and do a double A side. That would be awesome.
Oh
But
my god,
yeah,
that
but
would.
yeah, I mean, I miss those days. But yeah, that's just me sounding really, really old. But then, what do you think of Nothing Inside?
So I think that that song rocks too. I also think that on this one I got super like peak vibes. And again, I loved it because I think Lil Peep rocks. And while Machine Gun Kelly is his own person and his own artist, I think I just picked up those vibes and I loved it. I think that it was another really cool feature. I really don't know much about Ian Dior. Um,
Yeah.
Never really heard of them before. Um, but
So
I
do you,
really
have you so have you listened to Sick and Tired with Machine Gun Kelly and him?
no.
Wow. Okay, that's something that I'm gonna have to get you on right after this
Yeah.
podcast. But
Yeah.
only because the first time I listened to this song, it escaped me. But then I was just doing my own thing around the house, listening to Sick and Tired, and then I was like, wait a minute. And then I came back and I played this song again, and they really kind of Sick and Tired is quite a song just talking about oneself, being fed up of a lot of things. Whereas this song felt like the sequel in the sense of the people around them realizing that there wasn't like agreeing with them, like, you know.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and I mean, I could be completely wrong, but like if this was a happy accident that they worked together that way, then yeah, but that's what it felt like. And what he has been really good with is raising the profile of other people that are like doing well. And like Ian Dill's got quite a lot of cool features coming up. He's doing one with Carly Hansen at the moment as well, and he's such an awesome talent. But I also feel like this was a very, yeah, I feel like this was a song that had to be on the album, and I just love, like, it's hard to talk about it when you don't know Sick and Tired,
Right.
but I just felt like it almost feels like it really was meant to be like the follow-up to that song,
Right. That's
where
awesome.
MGK featured for him.
Wow.
Yeah, totally. And then the next bit was Pure Softness, wasn't it, with Banyan Tree? I was waiting for you to go all like soft and but yeah, I thought that was so, if anything, it solidifies how much he really does think of her by putting her voice and her immortalized on this album.
Right.
Like, you know, the haters out there should take it a bit more seriously, if you know what I mean, and get over themselves. But yeah, I thought that this was adorable, to be honest with you.
I thought it was too. I absolutely loved it. Like you said, I think that it just like it shows his like soft side, and you know he really does love her, and oh, I just loved it.
And I don't think it was too cheesy either. Like, I felt like it was just right without being too corny, you know.
And I think that it like kind of shows like them as a personality, like both of them. You know, he's always this crazy hardcore dude like bopping around doing whatever he wants, and then she just brings him down, and it's just so beautiful.
Yeah, definitely.
I really do.
And then we go through all of this emotion. This whole album is like a bit of an emotional roller coaster, which kind of actually, when you think of it, like, it's just come to me, is that lyric in Concert for Aliens, "Get me off this roller coaster."
Yeah.
Kind of comes to like a plummeting halt with the last song, because it's incredibly sad. Now, this is the song I got welled up when I listened to Lonely, but this is the song I got quite emotional about with Play This When I'm Gone, because yeah, it's like a death note to his daughter, isn't it? Is that what you took from it? Like, I mean, I know you've been a fan longer than me, so like I just tried to make sure I'm reading it right. But yeah, like, it's incredibly, it's the honest note that I feel like a lot of people wish they would have had been given by someone, in a way. Like, it's okay to be sad, it's okay to be this. But yeah, it was very emotional for me. I don't know I don't really have much to say other than it just like moved me. But
yeah, I mean, I agree with you completely. I think that this was one of the hardest songs to listen to, even though Lonely made me cry too. I'm a big baby and cry over everything, but this song got me.
I can be like that.
This song definitely got me because I know that how important his daughter is to him, and like I know from, like you said, being a fan for a long time, I've kind of like been able to watch her grow up as well as him. Like, so I think that the importance of her in his life has been like really influential to his music.
Totally.
And I think that this song like just solidifies that, and it just was a really good song and really raw, really emotional. And I think that, like you said, it was one of those things where like as much as we love it, it was so an important like part to him. And
it had to be there. Like, he could have easily recorded that and kept it for her, like, you know, but he chose to share that with everyone else as well, which is important to acknowledge.
And there's been lyrics of his prior to this, you know, about, you know, mental health and suicidal thoughts and things like that, and her being there and her being that reason for him to stay around. And I think that is just amazing to hear, and I'm like, I could cry talking about it.
I mean, I did note one thing, and I forgot that I wrote this down, but you know, the quarantine session he did with Pretty Toxic Revolver, play this song on the first day I am gone. And it was kind of like, have that kind of message as well, but he was rapping, whereas this is like the deep rooted, like, okay, let's get serious
Right.
pop punk version.
Right.
Because no genre can really, in my opinion, encompass and do sadness as well as that genre can.
Exactly. I totally agree with that. And I think this, I wrote another note about this as well. And I think this is a perfect opportunity to talk about it. I'm sure you've seen it as well, and all the other MGK fans. There was like a tweet about the two pictures, and one was from last year, during like the Hotel Diablo era type time, and then one was from this year, and like you can just see the utter happiness on his face, and like you can see that this album has been so important to him and his mental health. Like, this is where he belongs. Like, this is it.
Yeah. And I feel like if anything, if two genres could merge as well as they did, as like so well, I feel like pop punk and rap they're kind of meant to be. If you had to put two genres together to match, say, like that, I don't think that there would be anything wrong with us hearing Tickets to My Downfall and then hearing the likes of, you know, Candy or 27 and Let Me Go in the same set list. I feel like if anyone can do this and keep doing it, it'd be him. And like, it definitely, if we're good, as it's time to like round up the album, I definitely feel like if I had any album I had hopes pinned on this year that could have let me down, it should have been this one, and it really didn't.
Right.
And like, I mean, I've got the signed copy here as well.
Oh, yeah.
So if it had arrived and I didn't like it, I would have been gutted. But yeah, so but yeah, it's definitely an awesome album. I feel like Jawbreaker, Nothing Inside, and I would also say My Ex's Best Friend are my favorite songs on the album. What about you?
This is the hardest part, but
because it's like you have to pick between your babies. I get it,
yeah.
But like I'm kind of brutal on myself, so I think that's why I can do it so easily.
So I would say my top three would be probably My Ex Best Friend, Play This When I'm Gone, and Lonely would, I don't know, or Forget Me Too, like, would have to be on there. Honestly, for me, like, I like this album so much, I'm not ready to choose. I can't do it. But those would be my like top four, I would say.
Yeah, see, I've said, you know, you've done that, and I've gone, ooh, but what about Drunk Face? Ooh,
Yeah.
What about the Halsey Club? Ooh.
I'm like looking at the track list, and I'm like, wait.
Yeah, and I'm getting like song titles muddled and everything because I'm still not that well accustomed to the album. But yeah, it's just it's definitely one of those ones where, I mean, we're only 4 days into it being out there, so it'd be kind of cool when we come to doing like our albums of the year at the end of the year, call each other out on what our favorite songs are of each album. Be interesting to see where we're at then. But yeah, so
I think that also with this one, as happy as I am about this album and how he did on this album, I'm like more happy about how happy he is.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And I also feel like, you know, we need a couple more pop punk albums. I hope he sticks at it longer. Yeah. Like,
I know that he mentioned something about a rap album coming after this one, and I'm not ready for him to do that.
Yeah, see, like, it'd be nice to either hear a mix between the two, or if he flips between the two, that he does it that way. Because I suppose he's got a whole legion of fans of his rap that he also wants to like bring that for them as well.
Of course.
But yeah, so it's a definite like album. It's I've got two favorite albums this year, and they couldn't be more different than one or the other. And what the first one was Folklore, and now it's Tickets to My Downfall. So yeah. Oh, and yeah, and I said that without mentioning 5 Seconds of Summer in a whole video. But yeah. So
Yes, oh my gosh.
Yeah. So that's it from me this week, and we'll be back next week with some pop punk kind of theme podcast. Bye.